right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Jess, and thank you for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Andrew Fillipponi at the 93.7 The Fan Cam. In a matter of moments, so give us a call tonight at 412-575-2600. The number is right there. We're talking Paul Skeens, who was tremendous in his first All-Star appearance, getting the start here tonight. The youngest starter since Doc Gooden in 1986. He needed 16 pitches, 11 strikes, 7 splinkers. Had to face 4 batters. But I think, all in all, it was a pretty impressive performance, especially his matchup against Judge, where he had him ground out with 1 pitch.
Yeah, the Pirates probably loved it because he didn't get taxed. He didn't probably even break a sweat. It was not a long, arduous inning. He didn't put a lot of runners on. He put only the runner Soto on and only 1 pitch from the stretch because that's when Judge grounded out. He looked composed. He looked calm. He looked like the Paul Skeens we've come to know and love. Paul Skeens typically does not have great starts to games. He does not start blowing people away until the middle innings and later innings of games. He's given up leadoff home runs a couple times. He's gotten jumped on. One of the things that's great about him is he makes adjustments even as a young pitcher. So it was relatively smooth sailing. I did want him to strike out either Soto or Judge, but that's okay. You can't have it all. He's got a lot going on, and I thought it was a good introduction to the rest of baseball for them to see Skeens in this situation. He didn't quite live up to the hype in terms of striking out the side, but he still looked really good, and it was a clean inning. And I think that's something to build off of. This will not be the first and only time we see Paul Skeens in an All-Star game.
You know, the one thing I noticed over the last couple of days, the excitement, not only locally but nationally, Pony, for this guy. I mean, this is a national, he's a superstar on all levels, not just here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, he was, I think, Judge has set the American League home run record, and Ohtani pitches and hits and has won Cy Young Awards and MVPs. But in my opinion, right now, the new girl with the curl, the new flavor of the month, the player du jour is Skeens. And I think that there was a novelty effect for baseball fans, not only because his numbers are so good, but because he throws the ball so hard. They showed the graphic before he threw his first pitch. 75 pitches over 100 miles per hour this year. That leads baseball, and he didn't get into the big leagues until well into the start of the season. So, yeah, tremendous. Richie, so happy, so lucky that we get to watch him pitch, not just in an All-Star game, but once every 5th day for the Pirates. And we'll see him probably either in that Philly series or in that Cardinals series to start the second half of the season.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he had a couple pitches. He flashed 100 a few times here tonight. I would think he would either pitch Sunday or at the start of the Cardinals, don't you think? Sunday against the Phillies or potentially the first game against the Cardinals?
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, Saturday should not be out of the question. You'd think Keller would start Friday. They pulled him out of that White Sox game early on Sunday, giving him a chance to make that start right out of the All-Star break. Yeah, I mean, I would not put it past them, though, to say let's give him some extra rest. We're chasing the Cardinals in the standings, not the Phillies. The Cardinals are the team we need to run down to get one of those wild cards. So let's have Skeens start that Monday game against them instead of Sunday against the Phillies. If he starts Sunday against Philly, then he's going to miss the Cardinals altogether.
You know, I know it's a long season, Pony, and we talk about every series is important, but I think these 2 series out the gate to start the second half are probably the most important series of the year.
Well, they're in such a logjam situation. You know, they're in such a tough spot right now because even if you get on a little winning streak, you've got multiple teams to jump over. You've got teams like the Diamondbacks and the Mets and the Cardinals and the Padres, and you've got to jump ahead of at least 2 of those teams in order to make the playoffs. So, yeah, they're huge. I mean, the Phillies have the best record in baseball. We'll see if the All-Star break cools them off or not. You hope it does. There's going to be a ton of Phillies fans here this weekend ready to watch them play. I would expect that we see sold-out crowds over at PNC Park for at least the first 2 games of that series, Friday and Saturday. Take 2 out of 3 from them, take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals, get to a winning record on this homestand, and then go from there. You got to go out west and play some good teams too. So you're right. They have the 4th hardest schedule by win percentage in the second half of the season. So it won't come easy for the Pirates, Richie, if they rally and make the playoffs here.
Hey, maybe Picklesburg will help them get a sweep of the Phillies here. Starts on Thursday in downtown Pittsburgh. All right, we got to take a break. We're taking your phone calls. 412-575-2600 is the number. Back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our GMC tweet of the night, and no surprise, it's from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Their starting pitcher, Paul Skeens, who is pretty incredible, faced 4 batters, 16 pitches, 11 strikes, a scoreless first inning. A youngest pitcher in the game since 1986, only the 5th rookie and the 1st in 30 years. So a pretty good night for the Pirates and Paul Skeens. And now let's go out to our number 1 Cochran call of the night, and we got Chuck out in Uniontown. How you doing, Chuck?
Thanks again, fellas. If Skeens between the 2 series, Philadelphia and St. Louis, if Skeens only pitches once, do you think the Pirates can win both series?
I think that Philly series is going to be tough, Pony. I still think they have a chance to beat the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals and the Pirates are pretty equivalent right now. They're pretty equal, I would imagine, right? And that's a series that they have to win. I think that series is more important than that Philly series.
It is, but I think to Chuck's point, if the start is made on Friday, then you can bring him back, you'd think, to pitch the Wednesday game against the Phillies, which would be the afternoon game. I predict them to go 3-3 in this homestand. I don't think that they'll have a winning record. I don't think that they'll make up ground here. I think they'll tread water against these 2 teams, Philadelphia and St. Louis.
Even though he only threw 16 pitches and pitched 1 inning, you still have to keep that 5-day rotation, right? You would think, and that's why I think it's going to be Monday. Especially because he's a rookie. Especially because he's a rookie and they're watching his pitch count.
Yeah, I think it's more. Yeah, it's about the innings limits. It's about making sure that he's there through the end of the season. You know, other thing that Derek Shelton said today was, hey, if he doesn't get to face Aaron Judge tonight, which he did, we know, but if he didn't, we'll see him at the end of the year. And the Yankees and Pirates played the very last series of the season, so Shelton was implying there that Skeens was going to be available through the end of the year, which is a good thing because I know how many fans out there that I hear and talk to who think he's going to get shut down at some point, even if the Pirates are still in the playoff race. So they will try to find these extra days, and my guess is coming out of the All-Star break, we see something like, I don't know, Keller, Ortiz, maybe Gonzalez, something like that in the first 3 games to start the second half of the season.
I think the fan base would absolutely go nuts, revolt, if they shut him down and they're still in a pennant race or a wild card race.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how many games out they are. But, I mean, yeah, if they're within shouting distance, I don't think you can do it. I don't think Skeens, at that point, they're trying to convince Skeens that everything they're doing is in his best interest. But he's such a maniacal guy who wants to win so badly that I think that would be a tough sell. Hey, we're still in it. And benching him for the rest of the season would be waving a white flag. And I think that would really rub him the wrong way. So that's why they're being so careful with him now. Yeah, I think that he will pitch the whole season. And plus, Richie, he still can win the Cy Young. Not that that is their number 1 priority, but he cares about that. He wants to be regarded as the best at what he does. And right now, he's not the favorite to win. That's Chris Sale. But he's not that far back, given how dominant he's been in his first 11 starts to begin his career.
I think he's third at 500-1. I think the last time I checked the Cy Young odds right now. Let's go out to Kirk out in Manor. How you doing, Kirk?
How are you men tonight?
Good, thanks for calling.
Real quick,
Good.
Just wanted to say I think it's very impressive that the Pirates have a starting pitcher in an all-star game. The only sorry thing I have to say is we're not going to keep him forever, and we all know that. But tell me your thoughts. Thank you.
You know, look, I know we talked about this at length yesterday. I'd love to see him here for 10 years. I'd love to see them try to figure out to keep him around. He could still go out and get the big money after 10 years, and nothing is guaranteed. We know that. He could blow out his arm, and then if the Pirates offer him some kind of deal and throw some big money at him, maybe he thinks about taking it and sticking around here.
No doubt. I mean, it is the harsh reality of baseball. I mean, very few of these guys stick with one team, especially the smaller market teams. Look at the Brewers. I mean, Corbin Burns started the All-Star game for the Orioles tonight. He's a Cy Young Award winner. He was in Milwaukee. He won it a couple of years ago. They're a smaller market team. They said he's only got 1 year left on his contract. Let's trade him and see what we can get for him. And they made a deal with Baltimore, who's trying to win right now with new ownership. And they got good players back, not just prospects, but major league players. Their third baseman, Ortiz, came back in that deal. He's been pretty good. So, that's probably what's going to happen, Richie. I try not to think about that right now. I'm trying to, cherish what we get in Paul Skeens. It's still so early in his career. I don't want to worry about something that's 5 or 6 years down the road. But I get it. Sidney Crosby, Ben Roethlisberger, guys like that, when your teams draft them and they're great, you anticipate they'll play with one team for the duration of their career. And just baseball history would say that won't happen with Paul Skeens.
An injury is the biggest worry for me. A big guy, throws aggressive, throws hard, has an awkward motion. Not that awkward, but still. That's what I'm concerned about at all, him blowing out his arm.
Well, John Smoltz brought that up. Smoltz said that. Smoltz also said, though, it's time for the Pirates to keep some of these guys and not have them go off and pitch for other teams. So he had some very candid comments about Skeens. He also said on the game tonight, can you imagine the Pirates in the playoffs? So he's already thinking about them as a playoff disruptor because of the potential of those arms once they get Jones back to be a threat with good pitching. So, yeah, I mean, it's a concern. They even mentioned the slider on the broadcast tonight as a pitch he's got to refine and get better at, the torque that puts on your arm. So we've seen big guys, small guys. They've come in all shapes and sizes, all of them. You can find a guy who was big who needed Tommy John surgery. You can find a guy who was little who never had an arm injury and was able to withstand the rigor of being a starting pitcher in the major leagues. So who knows, Richie? The good thing is he's not always been a pitcher, so there's not as much wear and tear on his arm and his body as there are other guys who have pitched since they were like 5 years old.
Like Strasburg. Here's a tweet from Kevin Davis. Skeens hit a ton at Air Force 2 years ago. Imagine if Shelton ever let him bat. DH in between starts, he'd make more money than Ohtani. I don't think that would ever happen. I mean, he's strictly a pitcher.
Well, yeah, because he didn't even hit at LSU. They even shut that down there. I mean, he was a really good pitcher, a really good hitter at Air Force, but that's a long ways from being a good professional hitter. When he went and hit in the Cape Cod League, which is the best college wooden bat league, he did not hit well. And someone who's in the scouting business brought that to my attention a couple of months ago and said, hey, look at those numbers. He's really just a pitcher. He was a good college hitter, but there are plenty of good college hitters, Richie, who never sniffed the major leagues.
Yeah, stick to one thing, and he does that one thing pretty well, is pitching. All right, we got to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls coming up next. Stay right there. Welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. Now it's time to bring in Ken Rice to find out what's coming up on KDK News at 11. Ken.
Hey, Rich. Tonight, KDK First Alert meteorologist Ray Pelton is tracking some more comfortable temperatures. We just have to get through some rain first. We'll get the details, and we're digging for more details into the security failure that allowed for an assassination attempt against former President Trump. Also, a reality TV star from this area under arrest. Who and why? All coming up at 11. Rich, see you then.
All right, see you in a couple of minutes, Ken. All right, here's a tweet from Bob Sassy. He just tweeted me. Pony. Skeens plays once a week, basically until management spends money to surround this phenom with talent. We are wasting this talent. Who wants to play for a losing team? I don't think they're considered a losing team right now. Obviously, they're 500. I think they have talent. I think they can make a run. They got to make some moves to be in it at the end. this year.
Well, Skeens is not going to make a lot of money this year or next year, and so you got to take advantage of that when he's one of the most underpaid players in all of Major League Baseball. We see NFL teams do that with quarterbacks that are still on cheap contracts, still on rookie deals. Look at Brock Purdy in San Francisco, for example. So that's what the Pirates need to do here, both at this trade deadline, like you mentioned, and next year too will be a big one where that payroll I would like to see go up close to $100 million this offseason.
All right, Brian Reynolds had a hit, but he also struck out to end the game. The AL wins 5-3. Mason Miller had a pretty good inning. He also struck out Ohtani. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. What a great story. He was a kid that had undiagnosed diabetes, and he struggled at Division III level at Waynesburg. And then once he got that under control, he took off like a rocket ship. He's such a humble kid, a great kid, comes from an awesome family, and he is just like Skeens, but in a reliever role. He blows the ball past people and makes great major league hitters look bad. So I feel a certain way about him. I'm very happy for Mason Miller, and I wish him all the best in Oakland for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it would be nice to see him on the Pirates team, but there's no way that the Pirates could maneuver some kind of trade to get him. Hey, last question before we go here. What did you think of the uniforms? I want to see them go back to the old school, wear your own uniform.
Awful. They do it to try to sell those jerseys, to try to get people to buy extra jerseys, to buy their all-star jerseys. No thanks. Disgusting. Get rid of them. Donate them. I don't care. I just never want to see them again.
Yeah, I like it the way it was back then. You wear your own jersey.
Yep.
Maybe a different hat. I didn't mind the hats, but, I'm just not a big all-star game person anyways, even though I think the Major League Baseball all-star game is the best of the bunch. Pony, I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week, and hopefully we see you guys over on KDK News in just a couple minutes.